We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. This is episode 18 of our season 3, and what an exciting show. It's U.S. eventing history for all of us in the capsule of the last 15 years. We are so excited, John. We're going to be bringing you Max Corcoran, Bobby Costello, and Ariel Grald, all coming back from a fresh silver medal finish at Pratoni in Italy for the World Championships. What are your thoughts?
It was amazing. It was fun to watch. I will say the coverage on Saturday was a little tough. I felt bad for Lucinda. She was doing her best to keep things organized, but they were not helping her, I don't think, in the studio. But great job, Lucinda, keeping all of us entertained. It was so much fun to watch. And you know what? It's just, as an American event rider, as a member of the USEF committees, it was just, honestly, it was amazing to watch. And I'll be truthful, a little bit of a relief of like, I knew it. I knew we were close. I think we all knew we were close, and we wanted to believe that we could come away with this performance. And for those 5 riders to all go out there and do it, I think for me was thrilling, but there was also an element of like, oh, thank goodness we did it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, I was looking back in my memory of preparations and getting ready for team competition. And I think over the years, the whole ground team at the USEF and everybody else involved, including you being a chair for a major committee, have all learned what really goes into building a team. And it's not just, you know, staying in the US and competing and trying to develop horses. It's really going global. And I think in the last 10 years, we've started to do that more and more each year. And I think the riders also have developed a way of really going into their own training regiment that really makes sense for their horses. Will Coleman is an ideal person to talk about on that. So I think all those things combined has brought us together with a great Bobby Costello, Max Corcoran, all the things, all the ingredients needed to make a really nice cake got done. And I think, yes, we could all say we're 5.1 points out of gold, but look, silver is amazing. I'm so proud of everybody. I'm excited for everybody listening to watch this show and listen to the show. John, your thoughts on how the ingredients all got put together, because it's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big piece that maybe doesn't get talked about enough is the developing program, right? Like Ariel is the obvious one, who came up through that developing program with Leslie, and now she's on the senior team. And you know, that team, that developmental program has had amazing performances with Leslie at the Nation Cup competitions. He's won the one at Bromont. I think he was silver at the one at Houghton. With these sort of developing riders. Tammy actually was on that developing squad a bunch of years ago, coming up, getting developed. So I think there's a really good program in the Federation to develop riders and develop horses, so that they're ready to step up when it matters the most, as it did this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, some learning tools for really up and coming riders out there that I kind of want to give some insight into. And Bobby Costello is one that will tell you this as well. The USEF has a dashboard for athletes, right? We all go in, we do our FEI entries. You can also go in and you can see when Nation Cup teams are being developed or put together, or when World Cup or World Games or the Olympics or Pan Am Games. Look, if you have, you might not be making the team, but if you have the qualifiers to be in that selection process, apply. And, you know, Bobby will make the point, if you don't apply, we can't look at you. So right. When people say, how is the Nations Cup put together? How's the World Championship teams put together? How's the Olympics put together? You have to put in an application. So
absolutely. And I will say, being on the inside, I think riders are starting to get that message, because I think without giving too many USEF secrets away, there have been years where there wasn't a selection involved in Nation Cup teams. It was who was there. And
Right.
that seems to be changing now that, if you want to go, it's not just fill out your entry and you get to go.
Put in the application.
You need to put in your application for sure, but also, just because you put in your application to go to a Nations Cup competition, you're qualified. There's enough people applying now. It's not guaranteed you're going to be on that team, and you got to fight for it and have good performances.
You're absolutely right. But let's make this point. If you don't put your application in and you're one of the best riders to go represent the U.S. from the team, you don't get to go. You don't get considered. So all that out there to tell you, there's a lot of things going on. Like I said, we can go through the results. You have them pulled up?
I do.
So the top 10 for the World Championships, how many did we have in the top 10?
We had Off the Record with Will Coleman in 7th. We had Tammy Smith with My Bomb in 9th. And then just outside, I know it wasn't technically the question, but just outside of the top 10, we had our next guest, Ariel Grald, and Leah Moore's Master Plan. So that was
exactly
amazing for all three of those guys.
It's funny as we do our opening segment for this World Championship team. And look, I think we can all, like I said earlier, we can all go, well, what ifs? The great thing is this is it, right?
Yep.
But if we do look at the what ifs, you can all look into different ways. We could have been gold. We could have been 6th, so I think when you start looking at what ifs, it wasn't what if, it was what was, and what was silver. So that is amazing for all of us.
It really was. And I do just want to say as well how heartbroken I was, and this is truthful, for poor Laura Collette, who we just had on the show. She had an amazing dressage. She was there to go win it, and you put it all out there. I mean, when she did that, I was like, well, that's going to be tough for America to get ahead of her. And then to have her go out and just have that little hiccup. And it was at the slide.
It's like the C element. Yeah.
Yeah. The 7th fence. Just, I'm sure, completely heartbreaking, and, got to be difficult from that point on for her to keep herself positive and focused. And I know she took a long option later on in the course because she knew she was just riding to get the completion and hopefully be the drop score for the team. But she shows you what a pro she is, right? That she kept it together. She did finish the cross country. She went in, I think she had 1 down. I know she had 1 down in the show jumping, but finished the competition for her country. And that is not an easy task when you come from, the dressage test that she had.
No, I agree with you. It was good. I mean, I was rooting for her, and because it's such a cool horse, right? A cool rider, cool horse. But you got to give hats off to the 25-year-old Yasmin from Great Britain that won the gold medal. I mean, Great Britain has a lot of great riders, and you have it's our sport, right? It's gutting for some and it's glory for others. And to see that 25-year-old girl just nail it and end on her dressage score and win the gold. And who would have thought Michael Young would have had 2 rails, right? And when he jumped the last jump, you never see Michael Young have the last jump. Never.
I know. And to have, this was a pretty cool stat, which makes sense, but I never realized that is the first time that an individual has won the World Championships. So hats off to Yasmin. That's amazing.
Yeah. And the what ifs are, if she would have been on the team.
I mean, there's what ifs for every team, right? Including ours.
Exactly.
What if? So it really was amazing. I do just want to say, Rick, before we move on here with Ariel Grald, make sure that everybody, please check us out on YouTube. Make sure you get in the discussion there. Subscribe to the channel. Check us out on all your podcast players. We're on virtually all the podcast players. So we're on Apple and Spotify and everywhere. But the more platforms that you can like us on and subscribe to us on. And the other thing is, on that YouTube, it's so important that they have conversation. And I know you try to reply, I try to reply to make sure that we keep that conversation going. So please, guys, do that for us. That really helps the show grow and keeps all of our sponsors really happy.
Hey, and thank you to Horse Trailer Pros for being our title sponsor, and everybody listening and watching. This is the extended version of the John and Rick Show, because this is the silver medal World Eventing Championship team.
Yeah. So let's take a break, and we will be right back with the one, the only Ariel Grald. Want to advertise on the John and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622
or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
I'm Gabby Ruane, and I run Ruane Eventing. I run my program out of Reddick, Florida. I start off in the morning bringing the horses in, feeding, and then tacking up and riding pretty much all day. It's always a busy day here with multiple horses in training. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite sensitive and reactive as a young horse. I decided to start him on Stress Less. I've tried quite a few other supplements and I felt like they all dulled him. Stress Less was the first supplement that really let me get through his tough moments, but I felt like he could still keep that spark that made him special. Stress Less helps keep Mufasa calm but responsive even through his tough moments. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite reactive and sensitive, and I needed something to help me get him through those tough moments. Mufasa began his career as an event horse last year, and this year I hope to move him up to the preliminary level and then end the year with a 2-star long. I'm Gabby Ruane, and I would recommend Stress Less to anyone who wants their horse more focused and rideable overall.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here in our Stress Less segment with someone who had quite a bit of stress this past week riding for the United States. We have Ariel Grald, and Ariel, I want to say thank you because you also brought the stress down for all of America, American eventing. You guys, all 5 of you, were incredible, but particularly you just had such a great weekend, or week really. So congratulations and thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be chatting with you guys. And yeah, it was just an amazing week in Italy and an incredible experience.
And we've got a little pause here. We're going to assume that we're going to be right back with Ariel. Sometimes the wonder of the internet is an amazing thing, but then you get international stuff involved in faraway places, and you're back. Keep going.
Okay. I don't know what I'm on the Wi-Fi, but anyways, we'll blame Italy.
Yeah, it's Italy's fault.
It's Italy's fault. So yeah, I mean, it just was a really, really amazing week with great teammates and a really cool venue at Pratoni, and just obviously an experience I won't forget.
Yeah, it's incredible. So before we get rolling into everything, where are you now? What's your plan to get home for you and for your whole team, including your amazing horse?
The horses are still en route they'll fly back out of Liège, but they don't fly till Friday. The whole flying horses internationally situation, the flight situation's really tricky right now. Even going over, I think the flight date changed 3 times at least. So we'll just be relieved to get all of our horses home, but they're traveling well. I'm still in Italy, but I fly home later today. So
got it. So you don't get a vacation. Tammy's like off in Rome having like family time. You have to go right back to work apparently.
Well, I was gonna fly home yesterday, but I did.
You did get 1 day in Italy, I think is what you're about to say. And we're going to assume that internet is going to pop right back up, and she's back. So Rick.
Yeah. Hey, so, we've had you on the show, and show brings good luck. And so here you are, your first world championships, the jog happens, the team gets named, you're an individual, which is a really good place to be. You're there, you're like solely, you know, I know there's a lot of pressure being on the team, and there's a lot of pressure riding as an individual. So take us through, you know, you're there, you've got through the jog, you are now starting in the World Championships. What were your feelings and what was your plan for dressage today?
Yeah, I guess I sort of went into this, obviously it's a big deal being the World Championships, but I think something that was really important for me to keep focusing on was that my preparation and past experience and past success is what got me named to the squad. So don't change anything, just keep keep doing you know, what's been a successful formula in the past. So my goal for dressage was to just get a, you know, personal best score, which we did. You know, I would have loved to have been a little bit more competitive, but dressage is still a work in progress with my horse. But I was happy with how he went, and was happy with the 32. So that was a decent starting point. And obviously the rest of the US squad had a really amazing dressage test, and it only got better from there.
Yeah, and Ariel, I remember reading, I think something to what you just alluded to, the fact that what you said, a lot of people don't realize it is a mental game. I mean, you're riding a horse, you yourself can generate issues and problems for that horse just mentally. So it's really cool to hear that you put your game face on. Let me tell you, we've talked about it before. Your teeth look terrific. I mean, you've had some stuff going on leading up to the World Championships, and your mind was set on being where you are today. And I congratulate you, because you had some challenges getting there, but you must be really strong mentally, because you just ended on your dressage score at the World Championships for your first time.
Yep, that was the goal. I know that we start off a little bit off the mark with the dressage score, but my goal was to finish on that. So I'm really glad that we achieved that individually. And I think it was really special being there, you know, whether as an individual or on the team, was the same, I guess. Like everybody, all the Americans were just, it was really cohesive. Everybody was super supportive. And I put so much pressure on myself to score the best that I can and put the best performance in. So it was just nice to have everybody there, you know, cheering you on. And it just was a really amazing experience to be there with the riders and the rest of the US support crew. It just was positive all the way.
So let's move into cross country, John. Why don't you take the cross country reins, so to speak, and have Ariel.
I'd love to take those cross country reins, Ariel, anytime. They look pretty amazing. So just walk us through the round. I mean, I watched your round. It looked to me like it was pretty textbook, other than the double corners where he kind of hung up in the air on you at that first corner, and you had to work quite hard for the second one. But did the course ride as it walked?
It did. I walked several times, and we had Ian Stark there helping the US team, advising us for cross country, and also Eric DeVander coaches me personally, and he was there. So I had a really good plan. I watched a bit in the beginning, but I'm the type, I like to watch a few riders go, and
we're going to have Ariel back any second here. There you go. You're back. Keep going. You like to watch a few riders go.
But then I kind of go off and hide, and I don't want to watch too much. But anyways, nothing really changed the plan from the early riders that I watched. So I just sort of stuck to my plan. The slide was really interesting. I wasn't quite sure how that was going to ride.
Yeah, real quick on that. So that obviously we all watched. It was very influential. It seemed to me, but obviously I didn't get to walk it, like almost the issue was those jumps at the bottom were not tall enough for the horses to focus on. Was that the issue, or was it purely just the downhill and the narrow aspect of them?
Yeah, I think it was really the downhill. And while I didn't walk striding there. Horses were mainly doing 6 or 7 strides down the hill to the skinny, and you really just had to find a way to keep the horses sort of on their feet and slowing down all the way down the hill. You kind of wanted them to prop without getting against the bridle. So that was definitely the challenge. The skinnies, I feel like they were definitely skinny, and the brush was quite tall, but I think a lot of the horses were a bit surprised by the second one. I know there were some runouts at the first, but the second one, I think the horses just didn't see it till they had already jumped the first.
Yeah, I kept on seeing that too, John, right? While she comes back.
Yep. Go ahead, Ariel, you're back.
I'm back. I don't know why that keeps cutting out.
Doesn't matter.
It's all right. So Ariel, to your point, I think you froze just when you're talking about the surprise of the second skinny. So, to everybody listening or watching, you felt when they were jumping the first one, they had no clue there's a second one. So that was what the surprise was, right?
Yeah, I think the second one, from what I watched, some of the horses weren't really picking up on it, till you were jumping the first. And so that was just a very unique jump. So you have a plan there to, I wanted to jump the log really slow to try to have as much control going down the slide as possible. But it's one of those jumps, it's true cross-country riding where you kind of just have to react to what happens. You can only plan for so much of it.
The slide jump, just real quick, is really old school because we haven't seen that in a long while, but it used to exist, back in the day. So that's pretty cool. They put it in there.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I think it rode pretty well. And then for my round, the rest of the track went pretty well. I had a little bit of an interesting jump at the first of those double corners. You had quite a tight turn and an uphill rise to the
first corner there. This is going to take 3 seconds, I guarantee, and you'll be back.
Yeah.
There you go. Go ahead.
So yeah, the first of those 2 corners, my horse, he just kind of hung up in the air. He jumped it a little bit awkward. Not quite sure why, but there's a bit of a steep rise to it, and thought I had a good distance in, but that's the way things go. So I kind of had to kick and fight to get out, but he was really honest over the second. And really the rest of the course rode mostly to plan, and my goal was to obviously be clear, but to be inside the time. And I was sort of hitting all the minute markers. I was a little bit ahead all the way around, and I just he had plenty of energy and plenty of gallop. So I just kept kicking and kept galloping along and
smoked it. You were amazing. So listen, Ariel, we got to take a break, and then we're going to come back. You can finish up your cross country. And then obviously we want to hear about that amazing show jumping round and what that was all about. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to thank Stress Less again for this segment. Such a great product. And make sure if you guys have any horses that need a little help focusing in their training, you go give Stress Less a try.
I'm Gabby Ruane, and I run Ruane Eventing. I run my program out of Reddick, Florida. I start off in the morning bringing the horses in, feeding, and then tacking up and riding pretty much all day. It's always a busy day here with multiple horses in training. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite sensitive and reactive as a young horse. I decided to start him on Stress Less. I've tried quite a few other supplements, and I felt like they all dulled him. Stress Less was the first supplement that really let me get through his tough moments, but I felt like he could still keep that spark that made him special. Stress Less helps keep Mufasa calm but responsive even through his tough moments. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite reactive and sensitive, and I needed something to help me get him through those tough moments. Mufasa began his career as an event horse last year, and this year I hope to move him up to the preliminary level and then end the year with a 2-star long. I'm Gabby Ruane, and I would recommend Stress Less to anyone who wants to.
Hi, my name's Leslie Law, and we are a proud supporter of Jump for Joy. We've been using their portable cross-country jumps now for about 10 to 15 years. We love these jumps because, as you can see, they're very easy to move. It would only take another person on the other side, and I could place this fence wherever I wanted to very easily.
Rick Wallace here, bringing you Equibrew, a live probiotic that is geared to help your horse's gut health. I'm a true believer in this Equibrew, and it really makes a difference in all of my horses. Equibrew is safe, non-toxic, and clean sport compliant for FEI and racing events. Equibrew is an intact fermentation product with very high numbers of beneficial microbes. Order at equibrew.com or 850-879-2649.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are coming back with you with our 11th place finisher at the World Championships, Ariel Grald. And we're going to talk, we just got finished talking about cross country, how great it was. You ended on with no time, no jumping. Before we move to show jumping though, my question, which I'd like to talk about, is the footing there. You know, obviously what we understand, it was a volcanic sand base that was there. How did you feel about the footing? It seems like it was holding up. I know going down the slide, it was breaking up a little bit, but what did you feel about the footing there?
It actually rode really well. The ground felt quite good to gallop on. It was very dry, as you could tell from the videos. And they kept all week long. There was a bunch of rain in the forecast. At one point, I think they were calling for like 2 inches, but we barely ever saw much more than a sprinkle. So I think they actually they had to water part of it.
Which we have to do here in the United States a lot, right?
Absolutely, especially down here in Florida. We'd be used to riding on sand and whatnot.
Exactly. But it rode pretty well. It was a little bit on the firm side, but I think the ground, like, it broke up a little bit after the first few horses, and the end was pretty flat, but it was really interesting. In the beginning, they sent us up and down the hills, and there was a good couple minutes through the middle section of the course where you're sort of just like galloping on the side of a hill. The pitches and the turns were a bit twisty, and B, like, you're just sort of screeching along the sides of the hill sometimes. So it was definitely really interesting and a bit technical just in the ground and what you're galloping on beyond jumping the combinations.
So before we get into show jumping, but sort of leading us into that, Ariel, I have a question for you. So obviously, you know, I think everybody that goes to ride in this situation would be going into it thinking, gosh, I hope I get on that team. You get named as the individual. And I've just been thinking, in some ways, I think people think, well, that's going to be a little less pressure for Ariel. She's going to get to go out there and focus on you're going to get to go out and focus on yourself. But on the other hand, was there any element of it's really all up to you? Like, nobody's going to bail you out if you have a pole down in show jumping. Nobody's going to save the day. So you could still get a good, like, oh, you know, I had a pole down, or I had a little mistake in the dressage, but I still got this medal around my neck. It was either you do it or you don't. It is totally your deal. Was that additional pressure, or did that situation take pressure off?
Being the individual, I don't think it really changed my sort of my goals and how I approached the whole week. No matter what position I was in, either individual or if I had been on the team, my goal was to put in the best dressage test I possibly could and finish on it. So yeah, I mean, there is the pressure of, you know, my result is only my own and I don't have the team to fall back on. But I think I was just so focused on delivering the performance that I don't think that really affected me.
Perfect. Well, and so obviously you go into show jumping on Liam Moore Master Plan, and he's a pretty good show jumper. So what were you feeling going into that ring? Because I got to tell you, of all 5 of you guys, when you went in, I was like, I don't even need to watch this one. I know what the result's going to be.
I won't lie. The track was huge. I was walking the course and I was like, these are very big jumps. My horse is a good show jumper. I've done pure show jumping with him, and he does, he's very reliable on that last day, but it was a big track. And it was.
So John, while she's gone, I think that every jump was 1.30 m. There was nothing.
Yeah, it was huge and technical. Like, everything was related.
Going through.
And then you also had those weird wavy poles, like the candy cane stripe poles.
Yeah, Lucinda kept on talking about those candy cane poles a lot.
Yeah, all right, you're back, Ariel. Go ahead.
It was the course, the track was a little bit like badminton this spring, where there were some lines, like 7, 8, 9 stride lines where you had to decide, and there were kind of some options. You could do one more, one less, depending on your horse. And so you saw, as we were watching the other earlier sessions, you saw people doing all sorts of different strides in some of the lines. So I had a plan for my horse, given that he has a big step and he has, a big jump and is pretty careful. I opted for sort of one less in a lot of those lines, but that worked out for us. But yeah, it was a hard show jumping course, that's for sure. And warming up, my horse was good, but he had a pull down and an oxer in the warm up, and I was like, oh, come on. Usually his warm up is just seamless, and he tapped 1 or 2 in the warm up. But I don't very much, and I can just rely on his carefulness in the
Right. Yeah. Well, it was
a beautiful show jump round, and I guess to her point, talking about having a rail in the warm up, heck, seems like I always have a rail in the warm up.
Yeah, but I would imagine it is a little unsettling when you're used to warming up one
not
particular
having a
way.
rail in the warm up. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the warm up
let me tell
changes
you,
slightly.
Ariel's round was absolutely amazing, and I don't think there was too many clear double round rounds out there out of the 88 or 85 that jumped around, right?
Right, Ariel, you're back.
You went away for a bit, but we kept it up for you.
Just keep going.
You knew exactly what went on.
You're on the team here, Ariel, so we covered and made up for it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we saw you go through that look, and I was telling John, rails were going everywhere. And I think, to your point of how big it was, I think they made the comment, because Lucinda was doing it on the English commentary, and she's like, this is a 5-star course, so it's either $1.25 to $1.30, and somebody whispered in her ear and said, it's all $1.30.
All $1.30.
It's all maxed. So so then we started watching y'all go, and it was like, wow. So wow, what a round. And so when you came through those finish flags on show jump, what did your heart tell you?
Told her, be at peace.
Is what it told her.
Yes.
I bet you that was the most amazing feeling in the whole entire world, wasn't it? John?
Yes, it was. It was wonderful.
That is so good. Ariel's going to be back with us in a second, and while she awaits her return, it was pretty cool watching everybody go. And I obviously, John, as we turned the page and had the show on the results, there she is. Hey, we covered for you again. So we just said you finished. What was your heart saying when you finished with a 0-0, a double clear?
Yeah, I was just ecstatic with my horse, a little bit relieved that it was over and we got the job done, but it was just really, really exciting. And obviously,
remind me, Ariel, when you went show jumping, where in the
lineup
list of US riders were you? How many had gone and how many were still to go? Because I think there was at least 2 after you, right?
Lauren was in the ring right before me, so I was the second.
You went Lauren.
Yeah, and I think, to me, Lauren obviously had a very good round, and then you go in and you have an amazing round. That had to make the other US riders feel pretty good about themselves. Like, okay, that horse is a good jumper, and if you go in on a good jumper and you do a good job, you can get the clear round. So I think
it's funny you make that point, John, when Ariel, they on the comment on the TV, they gave a shot right to Tammy Smith when Ariel came through the finish, and you could see she was intensely watching you. And so it's cool how they kind of interplayed on the other US riders of how your round went. So yeah, they must have been really watching you. So that was great.
Yeah, it was.
And I think to those that are watching, out of the five US riders, 2 were clear in the show jump, and that was you and Will Coleman, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
I was
but
just-
it was a tough track, and
Right.
everybody had good rounds. I mean,
Sure.
it was probably one of the most wild days of show jumping I've ever watched. The rails flying and the team standings were juggling all over the place, and some of the USEF people were sitting there crunching numbers, trying to keep up with where the team rankings were and where we were going to medal. And it was really exciting, and it was a lot of really consistent pairs had multiple rails. So it was a really thrilling day of show jumping.
I mean, when Michael Young has 2 rails, it was a tough course, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, it was a great day for America. It was a great week for America. You guys, all 5 of you in particular, just were incredible cross country. That was, I think I saw in one of the interviews, Holly Bennett, AWOD, came up to you at the end of cross country and said that was the round of the day. And to me, as I watched, it was the round of the day. You were incredible. I hope that when you get home, Leah Moore's master plan gets lots of treats, and I know he'll get a little holiday that is well-deserved, so he can go kick his heels up without you around. And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show and still having time for us, even when you're a world championship rider. We do appreciate that. And I know I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, so I can come up and give you a big congratulations hug. So have a safe trip home. And again, congratulations. And from all of America, thank you to all 5 of you guys. You were incredible.
Well, thank you.
All right.
thanks.
So
Safe travels home.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys.
we are going to take a break, and then we're going to be back with the one and only Max Corcoran.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Jump for Joy fences are easy to move, lightweight, durable, and low maintenance. So we're out here on the cross country. We just finished over in the show jumping over the Jump for Joy fences. Had a great time schooling over them. They're really nice and easy to move, so we were able to adjust some things and really have the exact school that we needed thanks to the Jump for Joy fences. I love them.
Order yours at jumpforjoyusa.com. When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the John and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment. Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are now joined by the one and only Max Corcoran, who is the high performance eventing team and something facilitator. I it's a mouthful. You would think I'd know it.
Team facilitator.
Wait, say it again.
High performance program and team facilitator.
Perfect. So it just rolls off the tongue.
Absolutely.
So, Max, congratulations. You guys have to all be feeling like $1 million, and we do appreciate you being here. As you were just telling us, you have jumped off of a bus or a train somewhere, and tell everybody where you are.
She's in Florence, Italy.
She's coming.
Right now I'm in Florence. I figured I don't know when I'm going to get to Italy again, so we might as well take the time to be here and smell the roses. So here we are.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful city.
You guys having trouble hearing me?
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Such a beautiful city. I spent a good portion of my honeymoon in Florence, and I can't wait. I keep promising Caden we're going to take him back. So enjoy it and enjoy the little break that you're getting there. I hope Scotty's there with you.
Yes.
Perfect. So, Rick,
congratulations. Congratulations, Max, on a great effort and a great team result. I mean, we're all excited here. Tell us your exuberance, the pressures. Tell us in your little nutshell how this all went.
Well, I think it all went from the very beginning. It all went very well. We were trying to be pretty organized. Bobby Costello and I went down and found the training camp place during Aachen training camp. And it was a beautiful place in Batel, France, where we got to be. And Beautiful gallops, very quiet, nice little town. We could walk to where we were staying. So that all went very well. Everything just sort of went smoothly and just sort of fell into place, one piece after the next piece after the next piece, and just a fantastic group of people, great grooms, vets, farriers, everything else. We just had
Yeah, it was quite the team. Obviously, everybody there sort of just the names of people that were there sort of officially for the team, and then the people who were there helping the riders. It was kind of a who's who of North American eventing, and then some. So I know you can't give away any little secrets, but was it pretty seamless leading into the competition once all the horses got there, or was there any stressful moments?
Not really. I think everything went pretty much according to plan. The drive down, I mean, between, the drive down was always been the biggest worry. And we did 2 sort of overnight stints, what was very, very difficult. Dr. Susan Johns, God love her, she traveled with the horses the entire way from point A to point B. And we're always so jealous of her because she always looks like she just rolled out of a magazine. Her hair is always perfect. We traveled with the horses. We traveled with behind the grooms. We had this big black van we called the mom van, and the grooms and I drove behind the horse trailer, and we just sort of made our way here. We stopped overnight east of Milan, and then carried on and had the equipment truck arrive before the horses did. So then all the stalls could be bedded and ready to go for when the horses come off the truck. They were just ready to go and be in their stalls. So that went very, kind of bizarrely, seamlessly. You always plan and then nothing, sometimes always some things never go to plan, but it all went according to plan, which is kind of amazing. And again, we just sort of, kept keeping on. Every day we just did our jobs, and that's all we could do. Nothing dramatic, no drama, no fuss. It was a very tame, very workmanlike training camp and time at the venue, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah, for sure. And that's how you make sure that the riders can focus on their job and be ready to perform, as well as the horses, which, I know you're not going to say it, but is why you were hired onto this position. You've been on a lot of these trips. That was your job, was to make sure that those riders and horses were able to focus on theirs, which, I know you put a post out on social media sort of all of the grooms and what a great job they did, and that the medal was as much theirs as it was the riders. And I think I can speak for everybody. I'm sure the riders as much yours as it is the riders and the grooms as well. The whole team really came together. And so obviously US Eventing is really fortunate to have you. And how much longer are you on this contract and with the eventing team now officially?
I am on the contract through the Pan Ams next year in Chile, to be extended, to potentially be extended through Paris. So, obviously there's lots to learn and you get better at it each time. So I'm hoping, you just hope you make a difference and you can make their job easier, because that's my job, is to make their job easier. So, here's hoping. I've liked it so far. So here's hoping it gets to carry on.
So Max, you just made like a really big point. And I know we just came off this amazing silver medalist win in Italy, but you mentioned Pan Am Games. I think the whole idea behind being really well placed at the World Championships is now there's a different focus for the Pan Am Games as it hasn't been in the past. So you and the USCF and the whole team will now focus on what we would call the second tier riders for Pan Ams. Is that right? I know we're talking about World Championships, but let's just real quick talk about that Pan Am game plan.
Yeah, and it's one of the best parts about being able to have been qualified now, is that we can now get more people, more experience internationally for the next generation, or even someone with a young horse that's coming through too. You sort of look for one person that can be the leader, that's been on some team trips, that's maybe going to bring a young horse that they're producing to be able to be sort of the captain of the Pan American team. And then you're going to look, hopefully we're going to be looking for some younger riders, or less experienced riders, or riders that haven't had a chance quite yet, to be able to pop in there and get their team experience, because it is like no other. I mean, you've got to be selfish to get there, but then selfless when you get there to ride for your country. So it's a lot. And then making sure you have everything you need to be able to be selfless for your country, so it's a funny balance, right? There's lots of traffic here right now. Yeah, it's going to be great to be able to have a next group. It's going to be a 4-star dressage and show jumping with a 3-star cross country. And I know Gemma Stobbs, who is the high performance person for the USEF, she is heading down there next week to have a site visit to find out more about what's going to be happening there. So it could be kind of exciting. And it's not until October, so we've got all year. We've got over a year before we're going to be heading out to do that.
Well, and I think that's the amazing thing, right, Max? You guys just get the silver medal at the World Championships, and tomorrow USEF starts getting people out for the Pan Ams to be ready for that. So I just think the one thing I want to make sure everybody knows is, we're talking to you right now on the streets of Florence, Italy, and it looks like it's this luxurious life that you lead, traveling the globe with horses. And it is brutal. I remember, I'll never forget, we were on a eventing sport committee call, and we needed you and Bobby Costello to get on the call. And you guys had to call from the side of the road in the middle of night while you were trying to find a venue to train out of. And it's brutal. Like, what you guys do really is a grind, and it's pretty thankless most of the time. So
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a lot of overnight driving and staying up late. And, the horses, everyone thinks, oh, it's so cool you get to do that. Well, the horses arrived about 3 a.m. After we flew in overnight, took the overnight flight to get into France, drove out from Paris, waited for the horses until about 3, then waited for the equipment that didn't get there until 7. So there's another night we didn't sleep, and and then again when we drove down, it's 2 nights of overnight driving. So there's not a lot of glamour to it, but when it all goes well, it's all worth it, isn't it?
Totally. And I mean, I'm happy for you because you are also, as a lot of people probably know, a New England Patriots fan, and they're going to be terrible this year. So I'm glad that you had something great happen that you can sort of cope with how bad your football team is.
It's not very nice, John. They did win the other day. I haven't been able to keep up with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Max, I want to tell you thank you and Bobby and the whole team putting it all together. It just was really fun to watch, and it was fun to watch those great U.S. riders really come together and do a great job. And I think, it was the team behind them and the team in front of them and the team beside them that really made it all work. So thank you.
Oh, thanks. No, it really, truly was. I can't, everyone says that, oh, it was a team effort. It really was. And everybody just did their jobs, and everybody did what they needed to do. And it really was just all came together. I mean, it was real close there at the end. And
very close.
Yeah. We just kept fighting. We just everybody had to do what the best they could, and what they did. And we just happened to, finish where we did. And, it was pretty epic, pretty special. And also not to leave Ariel Grald out of this team thing, because tell you what, that is going to be, that's a fierce competitor, and we're going to see her a lot more. And she's fantastic. And she was, again, she doesn't have the medal around her neck, but she was part of that silver medal team. I cannot
for sure. I thought the best thing you did,
the
best thing you guys did before we have to break here is I saw so many pictures of all 5 riders at the end of show jumping. And that was, I'm sure that was a plan. That was this is what we're going to do. And it was great to see Ariel right in the center there, surrounded by 2 teammates on either side. It really was the whole crew. So listen, Max, I know you want to get back to Florence and to having a great time, which is well-deserved. So enjoy yourself. And we can't wait to see you when you get back here. We'll, as soon as you're back in town, let me know, because we'll do a little chili football.
And tell Scott hello.
Unfortunately, I turned straight around and head to Buccolo. So
wow. Football season will still be going on after Buccolo.
I know. Excellent.
All right.
I can't wait. That'd be great.
Perfect. Enjoy yourself. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We are going to be right back with the man, Bobby Costello.
Jump for Joy fences are easy to move, lightweight, durable, and low maintenance. So we're out here on the cross country. We just finished over in the show jumping over the Jump for Joy fences. Had a great time schooling over them. They're really nice and easy to move, so we were able to adjust some things and really have the exact school that we needed thanks to the Jump for Joy fences. I love them.
Order yours at jumpforjoyusa.com. When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the John and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are being joined by the one, the only, Bobby Costello, who is the chef to keep for the Land Rover eventing team, US. So, Bobby, you just had the most fairy tale trip to Italy. We are so happy and proud of all of you. It all took all of you to get this all done. Here you are in the basement of your home, back. Tell us about it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I got back late yesterday. I did not have any time for celebration because I had committed to trying to get home yesterday. So I took off right after the press conference on Sunday and made it home. But yeah, it was a great week. It was wild. It was nutty. It was a crazy finish, and but it was a ton of fun. And yeah, the whole week I think went pretty much as we had hoped. So yeah, it was all good.
So Bobby, we've talked to a bunch of the riders, and or I've talked to a bunch of the riders, and I think Rick has as well. And the thing that I've noticed is like Tammy's in Rome, and we just talked to Max in Florence, and Ariel spent an extra day in Italy. So how is it that you, the leader, the interim chef to keep for the Land Rover US eventing team, see how I did that, Rick? How is it that you had to immediately get on a plane and fly home and not get to enjoy at least like 24 hours in Italy, the most beautiful country in the world?
I know. And I'm in my basement.
And you're in the basement.
Because my cleaning lady is about to come in the house. Although it's a very nice basement. This is where Joni Morris usually stays when she comes to my house. It's actually really nice. But I know. You know, it is ridiculous because we get to go to all these really cool places, you know, that the horses bring us. And you know, I do try to at times, you know, spend an extra day or two on either end. And it just seems that this year it's been so crazy that you're always kind of rushing home for something. So yeah, there's no excuse really. It's stupid, but you know, I felt bad because I'd left my dog, you know, for 2 weeks. And so I was like, I just got to get home. But yeah, it's pretty pathetic. Truth be told.
So that's all right, Bobby. I think the time spent in Italy was well done. The team came through, got the silver medal. I think it's been a while since that's happened, you know, and you and Max and everybody else putting this all together. Can you walk us through, you know, we know you had the 5 riders going to Italy. Philip was on the traveling reserve, but he went home before y'all went to Italy. Tell us, you know, once the jog was done, I think, is that when the team was named?
Yes, after the jog, yes, correct. After the first trot up on Wednesday, you literally just get handed a sheet of paper and you have to write in your 4 team and 1 individual. The riders actually, I had told them before the jog, you know, barring anything weird happening in the reason why you don't make a big, you know, public, you know, splash about it is because anything can happen in a jog. Say a horse jogs up a little funky or something, you know, you don't want to commit until you absolutely have to. So the riders were informed a couple of days in advance. And yeah, so that's how that works.
So before you do that, Bobby, just one thing that I want to just touch on that was said is, so when did Philip exactly head home? What day was that?
His horse stayed in France where we were training for a week until the horses were set to, you know, until we knew that our other horses were set to be able to compete.
And so
I don't know exactly when his horse left, but had we needed that horse, last minute. Would have been a little bit of a, it would have been a little bit of an ordeal to get him down there, but we had that contingency plan.
So when was the last moment you could have made the switch and put that horse in if needed?
I think it would have been, I think Monday.
Okay.
And I don't have the schedule in front of me. I believe it was Monday.
And was that because the venue and the competition wouldn't allow you to bring that horse?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we could not have any other horses there. And so it's a little dodgy when you go to these places that are so far away. And and also in fairness to Philip and his horse, not to drag him all over creation, knowing that he has Fair Hill or whatever is coming up to prepare for. So it all worked out. We felt pretty confident.
Cool.
So John, I know you got questions too, but I want to now capitalize on the job at hand, and what I've been hearing, Bobby, is that your approach to the team and getting to Italy and the whole process has been, you're a super nice, outgoing guy. It's been very businesslike, which is, I believe, the way it should be run, but you've done a great job keeping a business mind about what you've been doing and not get too, outside the scope of personalities and stuff like that, which I understand has always all cohesive. So tell us, as an interim chef to keep for the U.S. eventing Land Rover team, how
still didn't do it right, but
almost. That's good.
I like my way. And then tell us how you kept that business-like mind going through this process.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's any other way, because the riders just want clarity. They want you to be truthful with them. They want things to be organized, and especially when you ask these riders to give up their businesses, and that's what they sign on for. So it's no big hardship, because they're going to the World Championships, but still, you want everyone to feel that there's a real purpose to what they're doing. So that just the logistics part of this trip was ridiculous. And I know you've talked to Max, and she was amazing at organizing all the shipping and where the horses were going to stay over, and her list of to-do list was so huge that I would not do justice trying to tell you all the things that she did to make this trip go smoothly. So we really wanted to make sure that at every turn, that at whatever we were doing, asking the riders to do, from spending a week in France, flying down to Italy, the whole entire trip, if it's organized and buttoned up and detailed, then the whole thing just goes so much smoother, and everybody's so much more happy. And honestly, it was just an amazing couple of weeks. I felt, I told a couple of people when we first arrived in France, when you go on a vacation, for me anyway, it takes you 2 or 3 days to kind of be okay with just chilling out and, giving yourself, a little bit of me time or whatever. And that's what the riders had to do. I felt it was like maybe Wednesday of that week in France before I felt everybody just take a deep breath and be like, okay, it's okay just to be here concentrating on my one horse for this one goal. And then by the end of the week, it was just an amazing kind of feeling among the group. And honestly, in Italy, there was not one moment where I didn't feel that everybody was absolutely focused on the same goal. And it's a huge part of it. So I'm glad that part was successful anyway.
I was waiting for you, Rick.
Oh no, I was letting you take it over. That was a great, synopsis of how that all went. And I can tell you, Bobby, that the word on the street is that you did a magnificent job of leading that team. And it takes a leader to pull it all together. And I think the team that was put together by the USEF is a great team, from the top to the bottom, and there is no bottom, right? So all of y'all just did a great job.
Thank you. The support staff that we had, like the USEF sent everyone that possible to support us. We had Gemma and Christina, behind the scenes, helping out with all the little details, just the day-to-day details, going, just getting through the week. They had their press team there that was incredible. And, Will Connell was there as the chef de mission. So we really had, we had full support. And
you guys did. I actually was talking yesterday with Bill Maroney, and he was like, "Oh, I just got back from Italy. It was an amazing trip." So you're right. Everybody was there, and it was super. It was just super exciting for everybody back home to watch. And I will say as well, a little bit off the record, I appreciate that when I texted you and was like, "Good job, man," you actually responded, because your phone must have been blowing up.
It was pretty cool. It was wild. Yeah, it was pretty fun. And even when I did respond to every single person. I hope if I didn't, I apologize, but I didn't have any blue dots next to anyone's name. So I think I got everybody.
That doesn't make me feel as special, just for
but you were probably one of the first, because you were one of the first that actually did text me. So I probably got right back to you. So, and then even when I got off the plane yesterday, or when the plane landed and you turn off your airplane mode, I had 40 more messages that had come through when people had woken up yesterday and I was kind of on the plane. So, so it was super cool. Super cool.
Congratulations. Are you able to stick around for one more segment?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure.
All right. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back with the interim U.S. eventing team, Land Rover chef to keep. I screwed it up now, Rick. I've been hanging around you too much.
All right. You guys should just give it up.
Yeah. We're going to be back with Bob.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
I'm Gabby Ruane, and I run Ruane Eventing. I run my program out of Reddick, Florida. I start off in the morning bringing the horses in, feeding, and then tacking up and riding pretty much all day. It's always a busy day here with multiple horses in training. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite sensitive and reactive as a young horse. I decided to start him on Stress Less. I've tried quite a few other supplements and I felt like they all dulled him. Stress Less was the first supplement that really let me get through his tough moments, but I felt like he could still keep that spark that made him special. Stress Less helps keep Mufasa calm but responsive even through his tough moments. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite reactive and sensitive, and I needed something to help me get him through those tough moments. Mufasa began his career as an event horse last year, and this year I hope to move him up to the preliminary level and then end the year with a 2-star long. I'm Gabby Ruane, and I would recommend Stress Less to anyone who wants their horse more focused and rideable overall.
Rick Wallace here, bringing you Equibrew, a live probiotic that is geared to help your horse's gut health. I'm a true believer in this Equibrew, and it really makes a difference in all of my horses. Equibrew is safe, non-toxic, and clean sport compliant for FEI and racing events. Equibrew is an intact fermentation product with very high numbers of beneficial microbes. Order at equibrew.com or 850-879-2649.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here in a bonus segment with Mr. Robert Costello, the interim U.S. eventing, God bless America, the interim Land Rover U.S. eventing team chef to keep. I think I got it right that time, maybe. Bobby, thanks for sticking around. So before we get into more of like the competition side of it, what was your strategy as far as the riders? Like, I know a lot of times people put their sort of their anchor rider out there first to go out and get that clear round done. And then you maybe put your best dressage horse last, but not everybody runs it that way. And I'm a little curious because obviously you put Will Coleman out there first, who is an incredible cross-country rider and very consistent, but I think also going in had a chance at a medal. And realistically, you had 4, maybe 5 of those riders that were there. I think 5 really that were there, who could have come home with an individual medal. So how did that thought process go through?
Yeah, I gave it a lot of thought. You definitely want to put on either end of the day, someone with experience, someone that know that pressure won't get to them, either the pressure of being the first to go or the last to go. And then, so I felt the minute that I had kind of written it down, and I was like, yeah, I think this is probably the best way, the only way. So yeah, it wasn't actually that difficult to come up with the order, and everybody, I talked to everybody just to, obviously what I think was the best was probably going to happen, but I made sure everybody had input on, as far as where I put them on the running order, and everybody was totally on board. And yeah, I think it was a good order that we came up with.
So you went to the riders ahead of time and said, look, like, hey, Will, I'd like to put you out there first.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. What do you, if someone says, if someone said I am not the person for you to go first, I would totally respect that. If they said that, I need to see a few horses go or something like that. So, but no, everybody was 100% comfortable where I put them, when I had that first discussion with them. So, that that was pretty easy.
Cool. That's pretty incredible. So, then obviously you get through, dressage day. And I guess even before that, you had a unique situation all leading up into this competition, which was you're there as the chef to keep, but the riders were able to bring along some of their own specialist coaches. So that's obviously a balancing act, and not something that's going to happen every time the team goes to these competitions. It's a little bit unique to the World Championships that we can get that much accreditation. But putting that aside for the future, how difficult was that for you to balance with all these different players involved?
Right. I think it just goes back to making sure everybody knew 100% what how it was going to go. And if you're going to have your own coach there, fantastic, because that's the way the program has moved with, all this coaching is pretty decentralized. So, so all the riders knew what my expectations were. Basically, my only expectations were that anything, they had to run by their training schedule each day with me. They had to, they didn't have to, but everybody did. Actually, no, they had to walk the course, as a team, the 5 riders, me and our fantastic, cannot say enough good things about Ian Stark, our cross country coordinator. So we had, that was another thing that we were absolutely going to do together. And then 100% go off with whoever, like you're the person that you want to get an opinion on the course with, whether it's your coach or your spouse or whatever it is. And then Ian and I met with every single rider separately, individually, before the cross country, on Friday afternoon, and sat down with every rider, and they had to go through, jump by jump what their plan was. And everyone had actually a very, very similar plan. I think that was obvious from watching the cross country. And but again, it just has to be clear. The expectations have got to be, known ahead of time. And there was really no problem at all. It worked out very, very well.
So one more on that, and then I'll turn it over to you, Rick. So Bobby, just obviously the day went perfectly. It went completely according to plan, and you were able to go up to Boyd as the last rider out, and I'm assuming just say, go get it. But what was set up? How were the conversations planned to go if something needed to happen with one of those last 2 riders where they needed to take a long route or ride for the team rather than the individual? How was that set up ahead of time? And was that from you, or was that going to have to be a group decision with their personal coaches?
100% Ian Stark had the final, well, I think as chef to keep, perhaps technically I did, but I left that 100% to Ian, and the riders knew that if we needed to make a tactical change, depending on how the day was going, 100% Ian Stark was his say was final. So if we needed, if it should have happened, if it would have happened that we say needed to send someone the long way down the slide, and if a rider said, oh, I'm in a top place as an individual, I want to go straight, but that's great, but too bad, because it's a team competition, and Ian was the one to make that decision. Had it been necessary? Luckily it was not necessary, but the riders all knew about that ahead of time. So again, if you just set the expectation, there's no argument. So but we were just fortunate that the day went so smoothly, really, and to plan.
Yeah, Bobby, I think a lot of people listening or watching don't really understand the tactical parts of a team competition. And over the years, we've heard different stories about different teams and different mistakes that might have been made. And I think coming up through the echelon, you being a team member yourselves, that takes a lot of thought process and planning, and all the way down to the detail of what you just talked about. So I think I feel very comfortable with what's being built here. So I am voting for you to keep being in the position you're in. And I think don't change what is successful. So I appreciate you being there, making those tactical decisions that take us through the end of cross country. Look, y'all smoked it, right? So what was the thought? I know you don't have much time, right? You got cross country's done. Yeah, you're in this position, but boy, you've got a lot of doing. You got a whole night of horse care, morning presentation, and show jump. So take us through at least the moment of elation.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you just quickly, like the way that I talked to the riders after dressage, because that went really well, right? So everybody kind of has their 5 minutes of, wow, that's great. We had 4 team members under 30. I don't know if that's ever happened. So I was like, cool, celebrate for 2 minutes. And I just told everybody, like, tomorrow I want you all to ride like we're in 6th or 7th place, not 3rd place. Go in there like you have nothing to lose, that you're going to put the pressure on all the other teams. And I think that was great, because it just kind of took away any angst of like, oh my God, we're in this place and we have to hold it, and everybody's expectations are so high. But so that, and I did the same thing after cross country. I said, that was great, super, but tomorrow you just have to put your mindset in a place where you are just trying to constantly put the pressure on someone else. Take it off of yourself and put it on someone else. And which they had to do, because it was a crazy old day. So and it was that was just a show.
So I've got a question for your position as far as health, and I won't violate HIPAA. You must have a really strong heart, because the day of show jump, my heart was pounding, and I know John's had some heart issues as well.
Now you violated HIPAA.
I know. I'm just talking about how you're loving kind of heart, nothing else.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, it was up and down. I know Ariel was saying that they had to have mathematicians on the sidelines trying to figure out what was going on. I mean, when you have a 0.2 dividing silver, bronze, and 4th, that's some high stress. So tell us how your heart held up during that.
Well, Christina Vaughn, who was there with the USEF supporting us, she did all the addition for both Saturday and Sunday. So I just kept looking over at her, and sometimes she was smiling and sometimes she was shaking her head. And I was like, oh, this is just unbelievable. And honestly, like, it wasn't until I very carefully looked at the results before I got on the plane yesterday. I was like, holy, you know what? Like, I knew it was close. I didn't know it was that close. Honestly, I ran to the airport and so I wasn't really looking at the results. And when I saw that, it's like, holy moly, that was close.
Well, and it almost doesn't matter on show jump day, does it? Because you're not going to change your strategy much for a show jump round. It's go in there and jump a clear round. If that was cross country day, then you're thinking, all right, do we take that long option at the slide or what? But I would imagine it's just, go in there and leave the poles up.
Yeah, the only thing I told the riders that this is going to come down in the show jumping, and it really did come. It came down to potentially a time penalty. So I was like, we cannot afford to have time penalties, because that's the thing that can really bite you in the butt at the end of the day. So that's everybody had their own plan with their own were their own show jump coaches, but I was like, no time penalties. Like, pick the places where you can be a little quick, so you don't feel the pressure, throughout the whole course. Oftentimes, I think that if you just look at the course and you say, cool, I can be quick here in this turn and quick here in that turn, you've pretty much taken away the chances of a time penalty. And I thought they did a really good job managing that, because that could have been a nightmare had we had, if everyone had like 1.2 time penalties or something like that, it could have changed.
I think to your point, Bobby, you can juggle the math as much as you want, but I think, 5.1 points out of gold and then 0.2, 0.2, 0.2 just shows you that the U.S. is back in good form, and that, we're ready to take the world by storm. So
we just have to, we have to be very, you have to be pretty realistic about,
no,
there's still huge challenges going forward. And no, you're saying no? Like I'm
not on this show. No. Not today, Mr. Costello. Today is all about, we are back, baby. I don't want to hear any questions about what's wrong with US eventing. I don't want to hear anything about, we need to make sure that we're getting better. We were the silver medalists, and we could have easily won the whole thing if just a couple of different things landed our way on Sunday. You were amazing. The riders were amazing. You can go on about that in meetings, and we can talk about that privately. But for the John and Rick show, it is rah, rah, go America.
I love it. Because I'm way more like you. Like I'm definitely an optimist when it comes to these things. And so I just remember Mark Phillips said, no matter what we did and no matter how great things went, it was always like, but. And so, yes, I think we should celebrate.
Do that 100%, but not today.
Not today.
Not today. Listen, Bobby, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for joining us from your home studio there. And congratulations. I can't wait to see you. I don't know, you at Stableview?
Not if I can help it.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait to see you and give you a big high five and a hug. So congratulations again. Thank you. And we really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this special silver medal edition of the John and Rick Show. And we are so excited for everything for America and really for the whole eventing world. It was such a great competition. And we will be back in a couple weeks' time with another killer show. So make sure you check it out.
I do talk a lot.
We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.